Well, I'm only here today because of the Rainbow Warrior. It's almost 30 years to the day that the Rainbow Warrior came into my home, a port in England, right down the road from one of the world's worst nuclear facilities. And it was there to protest, and it came in, I went on it, and I was just hooked from that moment onward that people were prepared to stand up and use that ship to get right in the way of the environmental destruction that's going on in the world, and to stand up against nuclear weapons and nuclear power and all the other impacts on whales and seals. There was a huge list at the time, so it was quite inspiring to go on that ship as a 12-year-old and then actually find out that, you know, I wanted to be in Greenpeace.
And we got called about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, I think, by Martini, who was the first mate, to say that the boat had been sunk and that Fernando was missing. And it was not real. We had to repeat it a few times before it really went in, like, this can't really be happening. And it wasn't until we left immediately, went down to the wharf and saw the boat lying on its side in the water, which that was even worse, seeing that and knowing by that stage that Fernando was actually drowned, and had drowned when the boat had, the second bomb had gone off at the stern of the boat. So it was a really shocking time.
Traditionally, we're Māori are custodians of the land. We don't own the land, we're guardians of it. To have this honour to have the Rainbow Warrior here means huge things for us internationally, and we would be the guardians of it. It's a tangi. It's a funeral process that went on for a long period of time. I think for our people to bring it back here is a huge thing, an acknowledgement of that time, and it is because, look now, Greenpeace and, you know, predominantly a lot of people come here to visit, and we know they're coming to the cemetery. Yeah.
Well, it's fitting that we're at the 25th anniversary where the Rainbow Warrior was taking action against the greatest threat at that time, which was obviously nuclear weapons and nuclear power. And it's interesting that now, today, we're still faced with threats that can cause global annihilation and threaten the entire future of the planet, and that's through climate change. And so this is why these anniversaries are important, to remind everyone that the threat to the planet and ourselves has not gone away, and that we're still here and we're still fighting, and that people must join us in that fight.
25 years ago, really the very biggest issue for Greenpeace was nuclear disarmament. And our part of the world, the Pacific, had seen already an enormous amount of nuclear activity in its lifetime, with the French, the British and the US testing in our own backyard. And I think the bombing of the Warrior actually sealed New Zealand's nuclear-free status, which was, you know, a positive thing that came out of the bombing of the Warrior. But today, and you know, here we are on the verge of launching Rainbow Warrior 3 to carry on that spirit, that fighting spirit that the first Warrior had. And our biggest issue that we are, with the rest of the world, struggling with today is climate change. There's a feeling that you get when that boat arrives in port somewhere that's quite unlike anything else. And I think she really does embody a sense of hope for a lot of people. And I think that slogan that came out of the bombing of the Warrior, which was "You can't sink a rainbow," was really, you know, so apt.